Hi, and welcome to One Simple Recipe, where we're hoping to get you one step closer to better health. And today we're cooking with about 4 ingredients. It is miso satay eggs. So we're going to get into it. I'm Judy Matusky. I'm a registered dietitian and a culinary nutritionist with Athens Nutrition. So this is kind of fun. We're going to do a quick little egg, an egg dish that's pairing a couple ingredients that you might not think to put together with eggs, or maybe you would. All right, I'm going to get my stove on here. I just want to have this going because we're going to start with some. We're going to start with some cauliflower broccoli, or riced cauliflower or riced broccoli. And I didn't have riced cauliflower in my freezer, so I'm using riced broccoli. Because I didn't have the cauliflower. You can go either way. You can make these eggs just without doing this step and then serving it with a big salad or great veggies. I thought it was kind of fun just to do it all in one pan so that you're kind of creating a meal with all the ingredients going into one pan. You don't even have to do any extra steps. All right, I sprayed this with a little olive oil. I mentioned this before, this California Olive Ranch. I like this because if you're not crazy about the propellant in some of these cooking sprays, this does not have any, it's just olive oil. So I'd love to keep that around. I have it just in my cabinet. I'm using it all the time. All right, so I'm gonna add the entire container of this. And I'm going to get my heat up a little bit because I want that to just start to, it doesn't need to brown. We're just kind of taking it from frozen to thawed and warmed. So that's going in. And again, I mentioned this before, but on this package it says it serves 3. You can eat this as 1 serving, absolutely. We're going to what we're doing is going to end up being 2 servings, but ignore the serving sizes on these. On any kind of vegetable, frozen or fresh, because the more the better. So this could be easily 1 serving. We're going to make it 2 when we're combining it with the eggs. All right, so I'm going to get this, just smooth this out a little bit so that it can start to defrost and warm through. All right, so now we're going to go with just these couple ingredients. I'm starting with this bowl. It just has 4 tablespoons of water in it, and we're going to make a sauce. And we're going to be using miso paste, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a minute. And we're going to be adding some peanut butter, and we're just going to stir this together to make this a nice sauce. So it's about a teaspoon or 2 of miso paste. It depends on, a couple things. How rich do you want the flavor? I'm using 2, the equivalent of probably closer to 2 teaspoons, because if you're just making the eggs alone, you could probably get away with maybe 1 teaspoon of the miso. It depends on how rich you want that flavor, and it does bring some saltiness to the dish. But because I'm making these eggs with the riced cauliflower, which basically is, there's nothing added. So I'm gonna need a little extra flavor just to balance that out. So we have the miso paste in here, and then we're gonna add some peanut butter. This is just natural peanut butter. There's 2 ingredients. It's just ground organic peanuts and some sea salt, which very little salt added. And it will separate, and it should. So if you're getting the right kind of peanut butter, it shouldn't be creamy and smooth. We want those nut butters that do separate. So it is a little bit runny, and that's what we're looking for. I keep it turned upside down on its lid in my refrigerator. And we're going to use 2 tablespoons of peanut butter here. I'm not really measuring. I'm going to kind of eyeball this. But I keep it turned upside down on its lid in the fridge, because then the oils kind of work their way back up through the solids, and then it makes it a whole lot easier. So you just open it, stir it first, upside down in the fridge. When you pull it out, I just had it sitting on the counter for a little bit just so it would loosen up a little bit for cooking with it, because I wanted it a little bit creamier. All right, so about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I have about 2 teaspoons of the miso paste. And let me just rinse off my hand. All right, so, and then just 4 tablespoons of water just to, kind of bring this together. All right, so that's what we've got here. We're just gonna stir it around. And if you're not familiar with miso, I would encourage you to become familiar with miso. It's basically, it's fermented soybeans. And what's nice about it is it does produce some natural probiotics because it is fermented. So it's a fermented soybean paste. It's used in Asia, used in all kinds of countries. It's many, many different varieties of miso, but here in the United States, we pretty much see two. And that's typically this like lighter color blonde, or which is referred to often as white miso, or it's the darker red miso. And the difference between the two is just how long it's fermented, basically. So this one is going to be fermented, the soybeans are going to be fermented a little longer, a much richer, we use that word again, umami, but a very rich flavor. So if you're using this is nice in stews or things that you really want, some richness to the broth, particularly if you're trying to pick up a rich flavor without using meat. This is great. So that's a nice addition. I use both. Sometimes I swap out, depending. And then this is probably used more, it's a little more versatile. I like both for all things, but this is nice for sauces. I put this in pasta sauces. I toss it just sometimes with pasta and its cooking water just to make its own little broth. You can use it in, oh my gosh, in salad dressings. It's just so versatile. I love it because it does add a great flavor other than just maybe adding salt. So if you get it, and it lasts probably a year in your refrigerator. They last a long time because it's, it's a fermented paste. So when you do get it, you'll be able to really use it for a lot of things because you can have it for a while. All right, so the water and the peanut butter and the miso, that's what we've got going in here. All right, I'm not going to need this whisk. Oh, not too good. All right. So, and now we have the broccoli rice going around here, and if you want to use cauliflower rice, that's great. You could skip this step altogether and not even saute up some of the cauliflower or the broccoli rice and just make the eggs and then serve the eggs any way you'd like to, but I'm always trying to get everybody to eat a few more vegetables in their diet, so I think this is just an easy way to do it. So kind of get them in here. All right. And so we're going to use 4 eggs. Now you could use egg whites. You could use a combination of eggs and egg whites. You could use all egg whites. You could use the whole egg. Up to you. I'm going to go ahead and use 4. And again, like I said, this is going to serve 2 people. So let's get these in. And then we're just going to mix this all together. And then we're going to add it to the broccoli rice. All right. Try not to do that because I hate when you crack your eggs against the side of the bowl, then you really risk getting the shell in there. I like to tap your eggs together. That's kind of a nice way to do it. That's pretty gentle, and you don't typically get that. All right. All right. So we've got 4 eggs. Like I said, you can do any combination. If you want to go more whites, you can do that. If you're not eating eggs at all, you certainly can make this vegan. I would use tofu. I would get some nice firm tofu, even silken tofu for that matter. You crumble it up and use that instead of the eggs. So, all right, so now we're just gonna break up these yolks and kind of bring this all together. And then we're gonna add it right here to the skillet. Now I sprayed my skillet like I mentioned. I don't know, my non-stick skillet, I think I need to get a new one. It's not as non-stick as it used to be. So, but things tend to stick. So I'm probably looking at I'm probably gonna have to replace this soon. Especially with eggs, because with eggs, they just definitely seize up. All right, and stick. All right, so we have it on kind of a medium heat. I'm gonna push some of these the broccoli rice to the side a little bit, and then I'll bring it all together, just to give it a spot in the bottom here. You know what I might also do is let me take some of the olive oil spray. I'm just going to spray the pan with a little bit more of this so that helps the eggs from sticking. All right, so then the eggs go in. I turn my heat up a tiny bit. Ideally, if you're making scrambled eggs, you're supposed to really be cooking on low heat, and that's what helps to keep them from getting too rubbery and tough. It should take a while, but I'm going against that. I'm just going to turn the heat up a little bit because I want to get this kind of come together for you. All right, so that's in. And, all right, so that's going to go. Then you're just going to kind of let it sit here for, 30 seconds or so it can begin to cook on the bottom. And then you can make these into larger egg curds. It's a little billowy and not real broken up into smaller scramble. It's up to you. It's your preference. I kind of tend to like my eggs a little softer and more ribbony and not so crumbly, you know, in a sense, where if you think of scrambled eggs, they can get a little, they kind of break up a lot. So if you just take your spatula and just get under there, I don't know if you can see this, it's a little hard, I know the camera's a little further away. But now that they're beginning to cook, I'm just going to start bringing over some of this cauliflower. I mean, I keep saying cauliflower rice because the recipe, typically I use it with cauliflower. But if you do the cauliflower, then it's kind of all one color, but then I'll show you how we're going to garnish it to give it a little more color. But if it's using cauliflower, it is going to be almost a monochromatic look to it, where the broccoli here is bringing in some green, which is great. All right, so now that the eggs are really cooking, I'm going to just bring all of this together. And I have to say, when you're making this dish, it doesn't always look great because it's not the prettiest dish, but it is so delicious. I can smell the peanut butter and the miso as it's cooking, because both of those bring such a nice flavor. I mean, you know, peanut butter is added to all kinds of dishes and in different cuisines, but I never really thought to add peanut butter to eggs. That's what this is unique. And I got the idea for this recipe actually from Stone Soup, who I've mentioned before. I just made a few little changes here just to bring in some extra veggies. All right, so this is looking really good. So what's that, 5 minutes? So I'm telling you, 4 ingredients in 5 minutes to make a dinner or lunch or breakfast. This is an all meal, any meal. All right, I'm gonna pull it off because, you know, with eggs, you do get that residual heat. It's gonna continue to cook, and you don't want this to be dry. All right, so like I said, you know, not the most beautiful dish when you're looking at it, but when we garnish it, we're going to elevate that a little bit so it does look a little bit nicer. All right, so you've got some options here. Since there's peanut butter in here, you could use some peanuts. You could chop them. These are roasted peanuts. I didn't chop them, but you could chop them. You can sprinkle it with a few peanuts to give it a little more texture, because this is a very soft dish. So it's nice to have some crunch to it. So peanuts would do that. I also love it with a little shake of some sesame seeds. So these are just roasted sesame seeds. So you could sprinkle some of those across the top. And you have some fresh herbs, cilantro. I happen to have some in my refrigerator, so I chopped some of that up. You could use parsley. You could even use a little bit of basil. Now, if this was using cauliflower rice, you wouldn't have any green, so this would bring a little green to the dish, which I think is really pretty. And then this is sort of optional depending on if you like hot sauce, but I'm going to use a little hot sauce or sriracha, and then you can just kind of do that across the top. And now all of a sudden, it's just a little bit more appealing. All right, so there are the miso satay eggs with basically 4 ingredients and then some garnishes along on the top. So I hope you give this a try. If you're around today, come back at 1 o'clock, because we're doing like a double header today. At 1 o'clock, we're going to bring you these amazing bean burgers that are veggie burgers, and they're really flavorful. Good friend of mine's bringing them over with her. We're going to cook them together. This is her recipe. Well, American Test Kitchen recipe was one that she really loves. So we're going to cook that together. So if you're around at 1 o'clock, come back. And if not, you can always watch these within our videos on Facebook, on our Facebook page at Athens Nutrition. We have Athens Nutrition's YouTube channel. All of our videos are on there. We've been doing this for several years, so there's quite a few of them on there. And you can always find the recipes at judymatuski.com. All right, reach out if you need any nutrition support. We are here to help you, particularly if you're over 50. That is our niche. We work with adults 50 and up, particularly with whether it's weight issues or whether it's cardiovascular concerns, or maybe it's just managing blood sugar. So give us a call and we'll be happy to help. All right, stay well till next week. Well, no, stay well until 1 o'clock. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.